Hello and welcome. For those who don't know me, my name is Annie Rubin. I am a registered dietitian nutritionist and owner of Annie Rubin Nutrition, my private practice that I run virtually out of my home in Palo Alto, California. So I work with with adults struggling with a host of symptoms from underlying inflammatory and autoimmune conditions that include pain, fatigue, digestive challenges, and just a reduced quality of life. So in my work with clients, I help them implement a personalized nutrition roadmap designed to improve mobility, concentration, and energy levels to ultimately have them live a vibrant and fulfilling life. So today I am talking about stress and autoimmune disease and what the connection is. So 50% of autoimmune disorders are triggered by an unknown factor, and many studies have looked at this and found that most people suffering from an autoimmune disorder experience high levels of emotional stress before the onset of the disease. So if this is the case, then what is the correlation between autoimmune disease and stress? And why does stress make autoimmune diseases worse? So before I jump in, I just need to attach a disclaimer to this video that the information in today's talk is not a substitute for the diagnosis, treatment, or care of disease by a medical provider. This is for informational purposes only. So please consult your qualified health professional for any changes to your medical care. Okay, so one of the things that stress can do is it can cause hormone dysregulation. So chronic stress affects our HPA axis. This axis, which stands for hypothalamus pituitary adrenal, regulates our stress response. So the HPA axis works as a feedback loop to both initiate and dampen a stress response. However, when you're undergoing a lot of stress or chronic stress, this feedback loop stops working and your body is unable to shut down the stress response. So when this happens, cortisol, which is one of your major stress hormones, stops working properly. So your body stops recognizing cortisol because it becomes desensitized to it, and cortisol is anti-inflammatory. So when it stops being recognized by the body, inflammation happens for a number of reasons. Cortisol is also a glucocorticoid, and these compounds play an important role in regulating the immune system, including things like dampening the inflammatory immune response, decreasing T-cell response of inflammatory T cells, while promoting the anti-inflammatory T cells. So when you either have very high levels of cortisol or chronic levels of cortisol, again, this feedback loop stops working, your body stops recognizing cortisol, and it can't use it in the way that it should be using, which does affect your immune system. Okay, the second thing that stress affects is the gut. So the gut plays several important roles in our health, but when it comes to autoimmune diseases, there are two important areas that it helps with: the intestinal lining and the immune system. So if you think of your gastrointestinal tract, it's actually it's the only open vessel throughout your body, right? It starts in your mouth and it goes all the way down to your anus. So it's a completely open system to the outside world. And what protects your body from kind of all of those things that we're breathing in and digesting and eating and, taking into our bodies? Your whole gastrointestinal tract. So the integrity of your gastrointestinal tract is crucial for your health and in order to keep things out of your body. So it has to tightly regulate what goes in our bodies and what stays out. So the gut also houses a large part, around 70%, of our immune system. So many of the immune cells in our gut help regulate food and microbial antigens and protect our bodies from these molecules. So maintaining a strong intestinal barrier is totally essential, not only to prevent the wrong things from getting into circulation, but it also protects our gut microbiome and keeps it balanced. So when you have a leaky gut, and a leaky gut is kind of one of the one commonality that is shared across all autoimmune diseases, so when you have that, your immune system gets activated, things start to break down, you're more susceptible to things getting into circulation and really harming your body. So let's break this down. When stress is present, it affects our gut in several ways, including 1, dysbiosis. So yes, stress can affect the balance of our gut microbiome. Our microbiome actually supports a healthy stress response. So when that is out of whack, it affects how we handle stress. The second is intestinal permeability. So cortisol can actually increase intestinal permeability. So when you're stressed and producing a lot of cortisol, that can affect your gut. I don't know about you, but my gut and my digestive system goes completely off the rails when I am feeling a lot of stress. And that's, one of the reasons why. And then stress can also cause inflammation in the intestines. So one study showed that has shown increased inflammation for inflammatory bowel disease patients with stress. So stress can kind of trigger inflammation in our intestines. So what can you do to better manage stress, especially if you have an autoimmune disease? So next week, in my next video, I'll be tackling lifestyle tips for reducing stress, but here are some of my favorite ways to kind of get a handle on stress. The first one is therapy, which a lot of people don't make the connection between stress and therapy, but there are several therapy modalities that can help you better manage stress. They include cognitive behavioral therapy, which is kind of your traditional behavior change therapy, exposure therapy, psychodynamic therapy, EMDR, and somatic experiencing. So you may need to kind of play around and try one or more of these to see what works best for you. Usually people kind of figure out, what clicks. My second tip is meditation. So there are several meditation techniques out there that you can try. There's lots of apps. There's lots of ways that you can start being mindful. I personally use the Ziva technique, and I have found it to be really helpful in terms of managing stress, my own stress, because I am a stressed person. And the last one is grounding, which seems kind of weird, but connecting with the earth can actually help reduce stress. So one small study found that 1 hour of touching the earth daily helped to reduce stress. And if this is hard for you to do, like you don't live in an area where kind of grass and dirt is accessible, you can also try a PEMF mat, a PEMF mat, because that has kind of similar energies to what you would find on an earth. All right, so just to recap, today we focused on the connection between stress and autoimmune disease. We looked at how stress throws off your hormone balance, especially with cortisol. We looked at how stress affects the gut, how it affects intestinal permeability, how it affects just intestinal inflammation in general, and then also dysbiosis in your gut. So for those of you who would like more help managing your autoimmune diseases or digestive issues or just reducing inflammation, please contact me. I love working with clients to make their lives better. So my contact information is located in my profile. If you like the video and you want to watch more, I have a whole series of different topics that I talk about, which post about every week or so. So hit the subscribe button so you'll know when the next video comes out. So thank you so much for joining me today, and stay tuned for more informative talks on the connection between autoimmune diseases, inflammation, and diet. Have a great day.